everybody. I have a book haul. This is over probably since Christmas. Um, Maybe just since the first of the year. Today's the 27th of January, so I'm not sure. A bunch of these I picked up today, and like 4 of them I picked up before, and it just wasn't enough to do a haul. But I have plenty to do a haul today. I want to say there's like 15. Let's start with the small books first, because they're sliding all over. Okay, so I have 2 books by Andre Norton, sci-fi. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but I wanted to try this author. This one is Warlock of the Witch World. Kylan the Warrior, Kathia the Untried Witch, Kemak, whose powers could surpass all the others. These are the half-earthling, half-witch-brood family menaced by the sorceries of an unknown enemy. The burden of the struggle fell to Kemak, who was forced to summon his untested powers in the battle to match the alien evil threatening the witch world. And then this one, Zarthor's Bane. Can't even pronounce the character names. That's Zarthor's Bane bound them all in a mystic web of ancient peril. The man whose madness drove him to seek it, the boy who followed him, the girl and her cat who crossed their path in the wild and lonely reaches of High Halleck, and the host of spirits waiting in Lost Anyak for the final confrontation of magic with magic, power with power. And it says, Andre Norton bids you enter the witch world for a feast of adventure and enchantment for both mind and eye in this all-new illustrated novel of a faraway world beloved the world over. So apparently these are both part of the witch world. Is there a list of the books? Witch World, Web of the Witch World, 3 Against the Witch World, Warlock of the Witch World, which I guess is the 4th book, Sorceress of the Witch World, and Tray of Swords, Year of the Unicorn, and Zarthor's Bane, which is the only one marked as illustrated. And this would be then the 8th book, I guess. I don't know if you have to read them in order. I believe Andre Norton is a female author, and that's like a pen name. And it doesn't have any author information in here. Oh wait, here we go. Yeah, world renowned for her uncanny ability to create tightly plotted action stories based on her extensive readings in travel, archaeology, anthropology, natural history, folklore, and psychoesper research. Psychoesper? I don't know what that is. Miss Norton began her literary career as an editor for her high school paper and quickly progressed to writing, publishing her first book before the age of 21. Wow, that's good. At the time this was written, she lived in Florida under the careful management of her feline associates. This is printed in 1978. Copyright 1967. This is printing November 1978. So, classics, sort of. They're still newer than me. Anyway, I thought I would give those a try. Which pile do I go with? Let's do this one next. This one is a romance. It's a Christmas romance. Jingle Bell Blessings by Bonnie K. Wynn. All Jimmy Evans wants for Christmas is a family, and Chloe Reed's mission is to get him one. But when Chloe and the orphaned boy land on distant relative Evan Mitchell's doorstep, they come face to face with a real-life Scrooge. Blah, 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 blah. It's a romance. This one's going to make me cry my eyes out. I already know it. This is Old Yeller by Fred Gibson. I've seen the movie, and it is terribly sad at the end. Terribly sad. And I know I'm going to cry. But I've got it. I'm going to read it. It's only like 117 pages. Let's go with this stack. This is my vampire stack of paperbacks. I have a Harlequin Nocturne called The Vampire's Protector by Michelle Hoff. Out of the grave and into her life. For over a century, musician Niccolo Paganini had rested in peace until Summer Santiago's innocent touch raised him from the grave. Awake in a world suddenly so foreign, he needed Summer's help, yet his protector was a vampire with a deep desire for Niccolo's blood. Blah, blah, blah. I like vampire stories. This is The Killing Dance by Laurel K. Hamilton. It's part of the Anita Blake series. I couldn't remember if this is one I had read or not. Let's see. Guilty Pleasures, Laughing Court, Circus of the Damned, Lunatic Cafe, Bloody Bones, Killing Dance. Yes, I've read this one. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the 6th book in the series. And I know I've read Burnt Offerings and Blue Moon, which come after it. Obsidian Butterfly is the last one I attempted to read. But by that point, it had become more porn than vampire story. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's at least 9 past where I stopped reading. But I do like that series quite a bit, at least the first half. And then my sister-in-law keeps telling me about these, and I don't know what order these go in. But I have 4 of the Argento novels, the Argento vampires. I have About a Vampire, Immortal Nights, Immortal Ever After, Immortal Unchained. I'm not sure what order they go in. I'm sure she could tell me. About a Vampire appears to be the first one. The Immortal Who Loved Me, Vampire Most Wanted, One Lucky Vampire, Immortal Ever After. So this one appears to be the 5th book. The Lady is a Vamp, Under a Vampire Moon, The Reluctant Vampire, Hungry for You, Born to Bite, Renegade Hunter, The Immortal Hunter, Rogue Hunter, Vampire Interrupted, Vampires Are Forever, The Accidental Vampire, Bite Me If You Can, A Bite to Remember, A Quick Bite, Tall, Dark, and Hungry, Single White Vampire, Love Bites. Well, shoot. The rest of these aren't even listed in that book. Well, this has Immortal Unchained and Immortal Nights at the top of the list. I'm going to have to look it up and find out how these actually go. Because these can't be the first 2 if these are 1 and 5. I don't know. I'll look it up and figure it out later. I know if I need to fill in, I can always borrow from her or get them from the library. There's this stack. I found Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children and Hollow City, which is book 2. I love these books. And I think one of the things I love about them are all the weird photos that are in here. Can I turn to one? No. That's not one of the better ones. But, there's some very interesting images. And I like how he ties these random images into the story. I need to read the newest one still. But I had to have these. They're practically new. They don't look like they've... Well, Hollow City's got a little crease in the spine, but they don't look like they've been used much. So I was excited to find those. And then I found Harlan Coben, The Woods. It's got a thing that says it's coming to Netflix, so it's probably already there. I don't know how long ago this was, but I found this one in the little free library today. And I like thrillers and crime stories, and that's what he writes, so. Let's see. County Prosecutor Paul Copeland is still getting over the decades-old disappearance of his sister. 20 years ago, she walked into the woods with her boyfriend, and neither of them were ever seen again. As Cope struggles to raise his 6-year-old daughter alone while trying one of the biggest cases of his career, evidence links him to a man who's been viciously murdered. It's possible the victim is the boy who disappeared with Cope's sister all those years ago. But as hope rises that she could still be alive, dangerous secrets from his family's past threaten to tear apart everything he's been trying to hold together. Sounds interesting. Somebody started reading it and left a little thingy in there. They only got 100 pages in. We'll see if I can get farther than that. And then I picked up two I thought my brother might like because he's interested in like World War II and history and stuff. And this one is called Fighter, the story of air combat 1936 to 1945. That sounds like it's something that'd be right up his alley. And then this one is called The Few, the American Knights of the Air who risked everything to fight in the Battle of Britain. This one looks brand new. I don't know if anybody's ever read any of it, but it looks brand new. It's in great shape. This one's by Alex Kershaw, best-selling author of The Longest Winter and The Bedford Boys. Don't know anything about that, but I thought he would like these. And one of these bags, I picked up 2 books while we were at Walmart today. I used the Ibotta app, and they had some various books that if you bought them, you get cash back. And if you bought 3, you got like a bonus. I can only find 2 of the books. Well, 2 of the 3 that I was interested in, of the like 6 that were listed. And I found Fern Michaels' TikTok. The Sisterhood, a group of women from all walks of life, bound by friendship and years of adventure, armed with vast resources, top-notch expertise, and a loyal network of allies around the globe. The Sisterhood will not rest until everything wrong is made right. In the course of both their official careers and their top-secret missions, the Sisterhood and their menfolk have acquired enemies. Myra has been feeling uneasy of late, and her fears are justified when her adopted daughter, Nikki, is seriously injured. With Nikki in a coma and signs that the organization's online security has been breached, excuse me. Where was I? The women of the Sisterhood are more vulnerable than they've ever been. On their trail is a vicious felon with scores to settle and a network of accomplices willing to do his bidding for a price. He's set his sights on vengeance, and the attack on Nikki is just the beginning. Though frantic with worry about her daughter, Myra and her beloved Charles excuse me. Myra and her beloved Charles know it's time to summon the others and figure out how to take the fight to the enemy's door, because no one targets one of their own and gets away with it. ... triggered this? Talking too much, I guess. See if that helps. Oh, goodness. Okay, the other one I picked up is Wicked Dreams by Lisa Jackson and Nancy Bush. Oh, it's part of a series. Crap, I didn't realize that. On the wild Oregon coast, tucked between the mountains and the sea, stands Siren Song, home to a group of women known as the Colony. Their aunt hoped the isolated lodge would be a sanctuary, a place where she could protect them and their special gifts. But nowhere is safe from the man who has marked them for death. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this was originally $28, but they're marked down at Walmart, and I forget how much it was. But Ibotta gave $11 back. That's why I picked this up. And on this one was apparently $9.99. So it was like $6 something at Walmart, or maybe it was $7 something. But you got like $3 something back off of it. And I thought, that was worth it to me. I got a significant discount. I did pre-order a book. Pink Lemonade Cake Murder? I think's what it's called. It's the Joanne Fluke one that's due to come out in July. Currently, I am reading Ghost Boy by Martin Pistorius. And this one is about a boy who came home from school one day complaining of a sore throat and never made it back to school because whatever it was that he had basically locked him inside his body. He could no longer walk, talk. People didn't know if he was even understanding that they were talking to him or anything. Basically, he was just there, And he started to come around a little bit, but he still couldn't speak, but he could hear what people were saying, and he was understanding what they were saying, and they'd pretty much written him off. And so he was getting frustrated, and then one day, a nurse at the care center he was at was working with him. She was like substituting for somebody, and she was working with him, and she thought that there was something there, and that they needed to find a way to try to communicate with them. And so for like 10 years, he was trapped inside his body and had no way to communicate. And then finally he could, and he wrote the book. So, he obviously came out of it. There's a few pictures of him in here. He got married. Here's pictures from his wedding. He's, not a bad-looking young man. And I think it's fantastic that he was finally able to, break out of whatever it was, because they never did figure out, or at least to the point I'm at now, they haven't figured out what was wrong with him. It says, the miraculous escape of a misdiagnosed boy trapped inside his own body. And it's very interesting. It's very slow-paced. One of the girls I work with had started reading it, and she said it wasn't for her because it was just too slow. She couldn't get into it. But she was reading, at the time, A Child Called It, which I read years ago, and that's one that it just tears at your heart because it's about a young boy who is abused, and it's a very, very heart-rending story. And I'm getting a little bit of that here, because when he's at the care center, people ignore him. They just stick him in the corner, and they figure, he can't talk or do anything. And go away, you stupid mouse. Get out of my house. Get. Stupid mice. And they just pretty much have written him off. They figure, he's just a lump. And he's not. So I am on page 71, starting chapter 16. And I found it as an audio, so I think I might finish it as an audio. I'll probably finish it tonight. Prior to that, the most recent thing I read was Legends and Lattes, and I loved it. What is blocking the camera? Must be the edge of the computer. Anyway, Legends and Lattes, absolutely loved it. I'm sure you've heard everybody on BookTube talking about it. It was fun. And I love the characters, especially the little rat-like baker dude. He was fantastic. There's an orc. She wants to retire from the, killing for profit game. And so she basically decides she's going to settle in this town and open a cafe. Problem is, nobody in the town knows what coffee is. So she has to teach everybody what coffee is, and they start liking it, and the little rat character is obsessed with lattes and ends up getting a job working there, started with cinnamon rolls, and then he made other pastries and things. And, people would come in and, scarf them up. And they learned what coffee was, and they loved coffee, and there's some other conflicts in there, like there's essentially like a mob boss type character who sent her little henchmen out, and the orc wasn't having it, and actually confronted the person, and they were like, tell you what, we'll make a deal, just keep sending me the pastries and we're good. You don't have to pay for protection, you can just give me pastries. So they worked out a deal. One of her former crew decides he wants what she's got, and that's where the big conflict is. Probably the last half to or third of a book. Most of the book, there's not a lot happening. She's setting up, meeting these people, creating her space, and that's kind of nice. If you like cozies, I would say it falls into the cozy category. Most people call it a cozy fantasy, and I guess that's a thing now. I read more fantasy than I think I do, but I don't actively seek out fantasy. I read this one because of the cozy element, and I thought it sounded like fun. And it is absolutely a love letter to coffee. He had to talk about how much they love coffee, like every page, or so it seemed. But it is a fun book, and I loved it. I think I gave it 4 stars. I would have liked a little bit more with some of the side characters, I think. But all in all, I thought it was good, and I would like to see more in that world. Maybe focus on some of the other characters and how they got to where they are. That way you can open it up a little bit and maybe have some new characters come in. So I don't know if it's going to be a series, but I think it would be good as a series. And I'm going to keep an eye out for more from the author. What's his name? Travis Baldry or something like that. But it's worth a read if you have any interest at all in cozy type stories. People, orcs, opening up a cafe, interest in coffee. I mean, even just the whole, light fantasy elements. I think it's a good book. I would highly recommend it. I mean, I feel like I'm jumping on the bandwagon here, but I truly enjoyed it, and I gladly will recommend it to anybody who's interested. Beyond that, I really haven't read very much. I've only read like 2 or 3 books since the beginning of January. I read Going Rogue, which is book 29 in the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Ivanovich. If you like that series, It's just as wacky as all the others. We get a little bit more of Bella, Joe's grandma, the one that gives the eye to everybody. We get more of her. And she's a hoot. I really enjoyed her character. And I'm glad they're finally developing her a little bit. And of course, we had Grandma Mazur, and we had Lula, and Connie. Connie got kidnapped. And that's what the plot pretty much centers around, is they're trying to find Connie. And then Minnie got kidnapped too at one point. And I don't know, hijinks ensue. We get plenty of Ranger, we get plenty of Joe, and it was fun. So if you're into that series, definitely worth checking it out. If you've never read the series, start with One for the Money. Make sure you read the Between the Numbers books. Try to fit them in order, because it does make a difference in a way. So that would be like, what is it? Plum Lucky and Plum Spooky, and they're kind of side stories, but they introduce characters who come in and out throughout later novels. So you really need to kind of take a look at where they fall in the scheme of things and try to read them in order if you can. But I know when I first started the series, I was just devouring them one after another. And somebody on Facebook had mentioned it to me and said, hey, try these out. If you like cozy mysteries, check these out. And they're a lot of fun. So I read that. I read a manga called Days on Fest, Volume 1. And it's about a couple girls who go to a music festival. And the one girl had never been to one before, and she really loved it. And then they end up going to a second music festival with the other girl's brother and the guy that works with them in the cafe that they run. And then, kind of ends there, and they go to the second one. So I'm not sure if I'm going to actively seek out more of that series. It was cute. I enjoyed it. It really feels like it's written younger than what I'm really wanting. It would be absolutely a YA, because the girls are like 15, 16-year-olds. The brother is like 28, so there's a big age gap between the brother and the sister. So the two guys are older, the two girls are younger. But it was fun, and it was fine. And I think it might make a better anime than manga, maybe. Because then you would get the experience of the music. That's the problem with it being a book, is you can't hear the music. But it is cute. The artwork was decent. And I know I hauled it way back when I was first getting the Manga Spice boxes. Unfortunately, I did end up canceling that because I just couldn't see spending the money and the possibility that I'm not going to get my boxes. I'm glad they did finally give me the one book, but it would have been nice to have the full box. And I can't really blame them, though, because I'm lucky that I even got what I did. Because since it was stolen, they did their part. They shipped it, it arrived, but it got stolen before I even knew it was here. So the fact that they even sent me that book, I'm grateful for that. And that book was the bulk of the price of the box. It was like $28, I think. And the box itself is $38, I think. The shipping brings it up to like $44. So, I mean, $10, you're getting 2 more manga and a bunch of snacks if you get the full box. So sadly, I didn't get the other 2 books or the extra snacks. But I am glad I did get the other box and that they included that in there for me. So if you haven't seen the unboxing, that's one of the... It's on the channel. It's box 70, I think. We did that right at the beginning of the year when the second box finally arrived. But at that point, I had already canceled it because I just couldn't justify spending the money and maybe not getting my stuff. And the post office is, well, we delivered it. There's nothing we can do about it. They weren't even going to attempt to help me. So I'm just like, I'm done. I still haven't heard from the police department, and we tried to go through them and say, hey, people are stealing my stuff. They're stealing stuff out of my mailbox. They're stealing stuff out of my shed. And nothing. No response whatsoever. So the police here in town just are not good. Anyway, I need to go check on dinner. I've got pork chops in the oven. So hopefully they're ready. And I can have my dinner. And I'll get this posted. So remember to do all the YouTube things. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Ring the bell icon to be notified of future uploads. Maybe. Who knows with YouTube? They may or may not tell you. I very rarely get notifications of stuff that I asked for. So, and a bunch of things that I'm subscribed to, I never see in my feed. So I'm not entirely sure how the algorithm's working. Why I don't see the things I'm subscribed to. Why things I click the notification bell aren't notifying me. So like I say, maybe. If things are working properly, you'll get notified. Anyway, enough rambling on about that. I've mentioned that multiple times throughout various videos. So I guess we'll let you go on this one, and I'll go see if dinner's ready, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.